Well, look at those heads.
Woo! G'day guys, welcome to episode 12 of Ask Woodford. Very excited, Ask Woodford episode 12. I'm up and about here today. I'm with my man, Jordan Potts, intern, previous intern Woodford. What?
Volunteer.
What do you mean? Well, you're volunteering because the Woodford, the Woodford internship's over. Potty was one of the larrikins. I'm one of the guys who came from Noosa. So people complain that, and I hate, and you know I'm big on this, people who complain and whinge about life's too hard. And this guy comes from Noosa, takes his whole life, comes down here to want to learn. I've got respect for that. I think Potsy's going to turn out to be a real good coach. Shocking head though, so that's probably one of the offsides of Potsy. Terrible prune, not very good looking, but the guy's knowledge, I really appreciate him helping us out when we went to Sydney. Really was a really confident coach up there, took the 60 strong attendees through a lot of stuff, so I was really proud of him. Really developed as a really good performance coach since he's been through the internship, and I've seen him grow. So I thought before he leaves, we'll do the Jordan Potts episode. Welcome Jordan to the show.
Cheers, mate.
You excited to be here?
Oh, mate, pumped. Anytime around you is exciting.
That's good. I really get everyone a bit up and about. Up and about. So, episode 12. We've got a crowd right here. We've got the work experience kid. We've got a previous intern, Matthew, here. And we've got a new intern here.
Don't stop.
Oh, no. Caitlin. Boom, boom, boom. Caitlin?
Under pressure.
I don't know how to do these things, Caitlin. Caitlin, new intern, new batch. How you going, Caitlin, at the moment? Good?
Good, how are you?
No, I'm asking how the internship's going. I wasn't asking about you, but...
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Would you recommend
the Woodford internship?
11 out of 10.
11 out of 10, 11 out of 10. There we go. Potsy, how did you find it?
Oh, life-changing.
Don't take the piss out of, be serious.
No, honestly, apart from being life-changing. I honestly, coming from the industry as a personal trainer and knowing that there's lots of bullshit, this just cleared the fog. It's just cleared the air and made it so simple and given me the confidence to go out there and pretty well do what I want to do.
The simplest methods
Simplicity.
The simplest methods create the most profound effect on the human body. How beautiful is that? Buddy Morris, legend, NFL strength coach. Now, before I start this, I thought that, I was supposed to say something and I forgot completely because you made me lose my train of thought.
Simplicity.
Oh no, I forgot. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I might remember it as we go on, but it was something to do with you and what you've learned here. And how did you find? That was the question I was going to ask you. A lot of people have an opinion. This is funny because I bring this up on my show before. A lot of people have an opinion on me personally, and all the opinions justified because a lot of people who haven't met me kind of always got something to say about me. And then when they meet me, they completely change their view. How have you found it? Seriously.
Oh, it just goes back to life. You can't judge a book by its cover.
Correct. Thank you, Potts. That's all I want to hear.
To be honest, I heard, all the rumours, as you do, because you're a big internet hit and you're quite controversial. But when I got down here, I remember the first chat I had with you, I thought you were on fire. I actually thought you were going to burst into flames. He was sitting on the steps talking to three of us interns, just rattling off information. And then all of a sudden you just relaxed and went back to your passion of, furthering people's knowledge, helping the industry, and getting athletes better. So basically, when you cut the shit and you go back to it deep down, you're a good dude.
Oh, thanks, man.
You're an absolute spanner like myself.
An absolute spanner.
Absolute spanner.
The old spanner.
Yeah, no, it's good shit.
Hit us with the first question, Alex, and also the rules are this. You can jump in anytime, you can say it's a subjective opinion as long as you back it up with a bit of science, a bit of art, and a bit of what you believe in. I couldn't give a flying F. And I'm not going to swear because I promised Mum I wouldn't swear anymore. Go.
All right. Rick P. Scott from Instagram. Hey guys, if you were to train a firefighter in order to improve their ability to run up flights...
Sorry. Someone who... Oh, sorry. God, I've lost the plot here. I thought he said... Did you hear what I thought he said?
A firefly?
Yes, I thought he said firefight.
No, firefighter.
Fire.
I thought he said firefly. I'm like, what the hell?
Wait, hold on, are we talking like humans or animals now? Anyway, yes.
Good start. Go.
Animal
Firefighter.
If you were to train a firefighter in order to improve their ability to run up flights of stairs loaded and wearing all protective equipment, would you involve wearing a mask while training to stimulate what would be occurring during a real life situation? Or would you train to improve VO2 max by traditional methods with the thought that their ability to work under oxygen deprivation would increase and they improve their ability to work under load with a mask on?
Something specific?
Did he say wear like one of those altitude masks? Was he talking about that?
Yes.
Is he mimicking like the fire and the humidity? And
Can I just stop and just before we start this, number one, the only true way of training for that is actually fucking. Oh shit!
Hold on.
I wrecked it.
Hold up. There's actually someone on Instagram, and there's a video going out of a guy in Brizzy training firefighters, and they train with all of their gear on. So I think the best adaptation is to put their gear on and put them through conditioning.
Oh, I'm just angry that I swore and I wrecked my swearing. That's something I'm worried about. But damn it.
Yeah.
But like when you, because you've done your episode on the mask.
No, what I think the best way to train for it. Let's go back to specificity. Adaptation is task specific. The best way to train for something is to do it, to put on your gear and train. That's the only true way. There's no point of getting out your mask and then going downstairs and being in the gym and being in low oxygenated conditions. Well, that actually, when you put the mask on, it's not low oxygenated condition. You're just minimising the amount of oxygen that you can breathe in. So I think that the best way you can do that, what was his name? Gertrude?
Rick.
Why did I say Gertrude? Rick is, I don't know why I said that, is the best way to do it is put on your firefighters gear and do it. That's the only true way. That's specificity right there.
Yeah, do his conditioning. So the video was a guy in all of his gear, his firefighter gear, and he was dragging a sled up a hill. And his trainer was behind him.
Oh, okay.
Getting him to walk up, and this bloke was struggling. It was like probably 40, 60 kilos, and he was dragging it up a hill.
Yeah.
So obviously, if he goes into an environment without that sled, and he's got to power up to him, he's just going to be laughing.
Here's my take. Here's my take on that, right? So I think that it has merit, yes, granted, but leave the S&C stuff to when you actually do proper S&C stuff downstairs. So get stronger, get more powerful, mobilise, good. That's your GPP. In terms of your SPP, your specific physical preparation, that's when you put on your fiery stuff and you do that stuff. That's your specific. No, but that's still. I still reckon. What do you do your gym program for? You develop your strength, your power, your speed, your mobility, your glute activation, whatever it is, develop in the gym, right? That's GPP, general physical preparation. Now you take that GPP and then you integrate with the specific skill, whatever it is, and that's where you get your fiery stuff on. That's when you do your specific stuff. So I don't know what that is. That's not my job. But I don't agree with him putting on his stuff and going up here. I don't agree with that stuff. That's just my personal opinion of it. I don't agree with that because you develop your GPP in the gym. That's what I've always known, and then you integrate with your specific stuff. But I still think there's a merit to it. But I really believe you separate the two, in my opinion, because that's where you start blurring the line with what is sport specific, and that's where you start getting real gimmicky. That's my opinion.
That's in regards of like the sport, but I don't think he's an athlete in regards of sport. He's just a fighter.
But he's a tactical athlete.
He's a tactical athlete. So
Correct.
you could say that was specific to that, but anyway.
I just reckon, I personally, I think it blurs the line. Like it's like, well, what are you then? I don't know. I just think it gets foggy. It gets foggy. Starts blurring. Fuck this shit, you know.
Get over it.
Fuck it, it's too late now. Sorry, Mum. Okay, go. Fuck it.
Next question.
I'll be myself.
Alright, so this is one from Jordan Post on Instagram asking people to ask him questions. This is one of them.
Jordan, did you?
So here's a question from Braden Hughes.
Mr. Hughes.
What's your and Christian's favourite glute activation exercises?
Oh, Hughesy.
And also, what movement preparation do you guys at Woodfords do before lower body resistance training with athletes?
Say again while he was talking, sorry.
So glute activation, favourite glute activation.
Yep.
And what movement preparation do you do before lower body resistance training?
Mate, staple. Absolute staple for me, Jordan, is any lateral band walks. Woo! Love them. Lateral band walks, external rotations. Also, I love a bit of hit the glute max, bent leg hip extension, prone bent leg hip extension, where they're on their floor, on their stomach, they bend their knees. So you want to think that of the posterior chain, the body's got two hip extensors. The first extensor is the glute, the second being the hamstring, which also flexes the knee. Now, when you flex the knee, you shorten the hamstring and you extend the hip, the prime mover obviously becomes the glutes because the hamstrings are shortened. They can't contribute hip extension as much as the glutes. So there's nothing more that I like than doing a prone bent leg hip extension, but also doing your lateral band walks and your manual external rotations. Because what you're doing there, you're hitting the glutes via three movements: abduction, extension, and external rotation. You like that one? So they're my favourite three. oh man, anything you hit the glutes is gold for me, because I want you to think most people, and people always laugh about me when I talk about the glutes. I think I talk about the glutes too much, but and I told you this, Potsy, I never understand people who laugh at me talking about the glutes, because I know I've seen it in my coaching, I've seen it from my results for my athletes, is I just see a pattern, and the more times I see the pattern, the more I understand is the glutes are dormant. And when I say they're dormant, I'm not saying they're not getting activated during walking. I understand walking's a gait and you extend your hips. I fucking understand that. What I'm saying to everyone is the glutes aren't functioning to a high level. That's not to say they don't work. People always like saying, oh, don't they? Are you saying they don't activate whatsoever? No, dumbass. I am saying that. Of course, when you extend your hip, when you're walking, you're going to get some sort of glute activation. What I am saying is they're not functioning at a high level for athlete performance. Jumping, sprinting. Exactly. But some people they always want to take what I say to the extreme and say,
who cares?
oh man, I laugh at that, but it's just stupid. What I'm trying to say, if you actually talk to people in the field, what I mean by that is people who train athletes like myself, that's my full-time job. I just sit around my ass, I coach people when I see a pattern. And the pattern, what's saying to me is glutes are underdeveloped. And when the glutes are underdeveloped, what I see is when they sprint, when they jump, when they change direction, it's ineffective, inefficient. So what I do is activate the glutes, mobilize the hip. What happens? Improve athlete performance. But the biggest one is, you think about for the glutes, right? There's 4 main areas the glutes protect. The hamstring, the hip, the lower back, and the knee. What I've found is, through my rehab as well, is once you get the glutes working, good things happen. It protects those 4 main areas. So I never understand people who go, oh, I talk about the glutes too much. Well, I fucking do it because I know it fucking works. That's why I talk about them. That's why. The glutes are critical to switch on. And if you don't switch them on, I've said it time and time again, where most people have this massive quad dominant focus. Leg press, lunges, leg extensions, squats. All these quad dominant focuses, what happens, especially if they're sitting down in this position when their hips are flexed, their hip flexors get tight. We've got 5 hip flexors. Psoas, iliacus, sartorius, rec fem, TFL. Your psoas actually attached to your lumbar spine. When you're tight, it actually pulls you into anterior pelvic tilt. Now, I'm not one who goes, I've kind of moved away from being very big on anterior pelvic tilt. I still think it occurs. I think a lot of people do have it. But what I see is when athletes are very quad dominant, what I see is their backs flared up because they don't really activate their glutes enough, or don't do enough posterior chain hip dominant work. That's where you start to see problems with any of their backs. So that's why I have a massive posterior chain focus. That's why I have a massive glute activation should be done every session, before every session. Lateral band walks, external rotation, prone bent leg hip extension, because you hit 3 patterns of the glutes.
Was there a second part to that question?
Yes.
I think there was.
Yeah, go. That's why you do glute activation before training. That's why you do it. I can't tell you how important it is to do glutes.
And once you warm your glutes up, you feel so good.
It was movement preparation before a lower body movement. What would your movement preparation?
Well, there it
be?
is. There, my 3 son.
Yeah. It's pretty well the same.
You're going a real big beard, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, okay, fair enough. Don't you want to shave that? Be a bit more professional.
Tell me about being professional.
Well, yeah, but I can tell
Please
you.
tell me.
I can tell you a lot about being good.
I think you're individual and you look sick.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
I'd shave it if I was you, but anyway. What am I to tell you?
Can you even grow a beard this big?
I can't actually, bro. That's probably not a bit.
What do you got?
Was that the whole question?
Yeah.
Because it was movement prep. So
Can I tie together a nice little bow before he starts talking?
Sure. Yeah, before he starts talking, have you even said anything?
Nah. Do you want to say anything before I just tie this together? Because I won't let you talk after that.
No, go.
No, you can say something.
Go.
The biggest thing that I want you to understand about the glutes is, if the glutes don't function properly, as an athlete, you're paralysed. You need the glutes for jumping, sprinting, change direction. If they are down-regulated, you're in a fair bit of trouble. Not only are you going to get injured, but performance is going to decrease. You cannot play sport without your glutes. I've seen it happen, but there's been injuries afterwards. That's tied together. Good activation, king, tick.
Think about that. If you're a good athlete and you aren't working your glutes,
yes.
If you then add it in, how much better is it?
Oh, through the roof. Always remember, first hip extensor first hip extensor is what? The glutes, critical. Second being the hamstrings, which also what? Flex the knee. Boom. Next question. Gotta keep up, Potts. Gotta keep up, son.
Do you prefer trap bar deadlifts or barbell deadlifts?
Ooh.
If you do, which one and why?
Can I?
You can take this one, but I'll hit it second, baby.
Yeah,
Go.
okay.
Pause.
Before coming down to WSSC, I was stuck in the mud with the deadlifts. I actually didn't know anything about the trap bar. No,
You know about the trap bar?
I had no idea. That's how good I was. So basically, I came down here with a goal of this year to hit a bigger deadlift, conventional deadlift off the floor. Within a good couple of weeks,
I changed you. I turned him.
100%.
I turned him.
I probably won't conventional deadlift ever again. I ollie lift with a bar, but I won't big heavy deadlift conventionally. I love trap bar. It's
Music
incredible.
to my ears right now. Music to my ears.
First of all, the learning is so much easier for someone, to get the neural adaptation. To teach them a trap bar is so much easier than conventional. Better center of mass, easier bar path isn't involved because it doesn't have to go up around the knees.
Center of gravity.
So when I learned the trap bar, my brain just went boof.
Easy. Can we give a shout out though? Can we give a shout out to someone who tagged me in here? Luke Edgell. Man, he went to my course, Sydney. Legend. I've followed him for a while. Known him for a while as well. He's a ripper bloke. First meet at Sydney, I said, bro, you've got to get a trap bar. What's the first thing he does? Go back, get a trap bar, see all these athletes trap bar. Mate, you are a star. Brilliant. That's what I want to see. That's great stuff.
If your sport doesn't require you to conventionally deadlift, you don't have to do it.
Boom. Perfecto.
Bang.
I think my biggest thing about this is we are so stuck in training everyone like a strength sport athlete, like a powerlifter, like an Olympic lifter, like CrossFitter. Let me tell you this for everyone, and I like using this quote, I think you know where it's going. Powerlifters, athletes are not powerlifters, okay? We've got to stop training a sport with a sport. Remember, athletes do not get extra points from deadlifting with a straight bar compared to a trap bar. It's about a stimulus for adaptation. Nothing more, nothing less. We're training a neural pattern. What do we use a deadlift for? A lower body hip dominant movement. What does that mean?
As well, though.
Yeah, it's a purely concentric movement, but if we use a hinge and a RDL, we can load the hamstring. But that's another story because he's asking me this question between a straight bar and a trap bar. But I think the biggest thing you want to look back with a straight bar to a trap bar is what are we trying to derive out of the stimulus? What are we using a deadlift for? We're using it as a hip dominant move. We're going to load the posterior chain. So if we look at it point from that way, that's it.
Yeah, she's a...
Oi, that's good. There you go. Trap bar. Center of gravity, she's in. Center of gravity. But how much less... Mate.
New question.
No, I'm not done with this yet. So I want you to think, for everyone out there, if you're a field court based sport athlete, right? Stop thinking like a strength sport athlete. Stop thinking everything's about absolute load, lifting as heavy as you can. Stop thinking about that. It's about training a neural pattern, nothing more, nothing less. Developing a physical adaptation. In that case, will be lower body strength, lower body power, muscular size for the posterior chain. I don't fucking know, but whatever you program, that's what phase it's in for. But stop thinking that everything's about lifting the most amount of weight to make you a better athlete. In most cases, it won't make you a better fucking athlete. Okay, start thinking with the reason why we're doing that. We need to stop thinking, we're stuck in the mud with our thinking with all that shit. And it's because of strength sport athletes. It's not their fault, but that's how we think like that. So think about stimulus for adaptation. It's a means to an end, not the end. Use a trap bar, use a rack pull, use whatever variant you need to get the stimulus for your athlete. Boom, done. Next question.
Woo! All right, this one's from Jordan's friend.
Can I bring the work experience kid in first, just for 1 sec?
It's your show, man.
Oi, come here. Come here. We're going to put his name. Put his name on here. Now, this, everyone.
Tell him your full name, though.
Tell him your full name, bruv. Chris what?
Christopher Grannis.
But
I can't spell that.
But hold up. Your nickname here is what?
Seawood Jr.
Seawood Jr. So when I have a son, I want a son like this. Get this. Watch this. It's unbelievable, right? Year 10. What school do you go to, bros?
Parkdale
Second. Oh, sorry, I just rushed that. Parkdale Secondary. Tell them what sport you play.
Soccer.
You've ruptured your ACL?
Yeah.
Ruptured your ACL, which shouldn't happen. Non-contact shouldn't happen. Now, watch this. Chris, 4 muscles of the quad.
The VL, the VMO, the intermedialis, and the rec fem.
Watch this. 3 muscles of the hamstring.
The bicep femoris, the semitendon, the semi-rem.
3 muscles of the glutes.
The max, med, and min.
Okay, hit me with the movements of the hip.
The external, internal, abduction, extension, and flexion.
This kid, what do you want to do when you grow older? Tell everyone.
Exactly like this kid.
Boom! Will you be better than me one day?
Of course.
Hell yeah! That's this kid is. Oh, give me that again. This kid, this is the reason why I do this, man. To see kids like him come down. We take no work experience. The only reason why we took him is because he trained here. But man, this kid knows so much already. He knows more than most in the industry. That's unbelievable, man. So you're a legend. When this video comes out, hopefully you share it with all your friends, brother. But you reminded me of me when I was a kid, so I really appreciate it.
Definitely come down here. You learn so much. I've been here for around 4 days, and I've learned more than my whole life.
Mate, you are a legend, mate. You are a legend. You know what I like about you when you tell me you're better than me? There's nothing better when someone says, one day I'm going to beat you, because it gives me motivation to keep getting better, man. You're a legend.
And what's the best thing you can do in places like this?
Learn.
Yeah, just ask questions.
Ask questions, learn.
For any interns out there, I want to throw this out there. Don't just go. like hassle your coach. Like literally, I've hassled these boys and I've got so much out of it. These boys were sitting around the other day and they kind of didn't find anything. So what do? You come hassle me, start asking questions. Fish for information. Like be obsessed. Don't just sit around and wait for it to come to you. Find the information. I've found within this internship, if you attack it, you're going to get the information you're chasing. They're not going to. They provide it, but chase more. So
also, if I ever have a son. If anyone wants to procreate with me and I have a son, this would be the greatest. This would be the greatest thing ever if I was a son like you. I can't have a girl, but a son, perfect. Take on my legacy. You never know. One day you could run my centre. You could be Seawood Junior, my friend. But thank you for coming. You're a legend. And legend. Oh, look out for this kid's soccer. Look out for this kid. You're a legend. All right. You're a good man.
Make sure you talk to God.
He called me God. What a legend. No.
Tag yourself there.
Oh, mate, he called me God. This day couldn't get any better. Next question.
Jesus Christ.
Alright, this is from Jordan's friend, Jenna McPhee.
J-Mac.
Sorry, what?
J-Mac.
J-Mac.
Yeah, that's a shout out.
J-Mac, what up? Alright, J-Mac. She asked, how long do you like to warm up or actually, we'll do the overtraining question. I'm gonna take it back.
How many minutes we going for? Because
You're on 21.
yeah, probably 2 more questions.
No problem. Oh, this is from Sony then. Sonny
Ivanovic.
Yeah, that. How do you identify if someone is overtraining?
You want to take this, Potts?
Yeah, I'll take this. Basically, when you think about like your physical capacity, you always want the best. Yeah. So the biggest thing I've felt along with my training is I always train hard, and I love training hard. It's a big thing that I push in everything I do. Go hard, but if you're going too hard too often, your maximum capacity will actually start to come down. Fatigue kicks in. You won't be able to perform at the best that you could be. Yeah. So recovery is the biggest. I think they say about your fitness or your maximum capacity. It's not only what you can do; it's how well you can recover, or what you can come back from. So biggest thing I find with my clients is say they're hitting a conditioning circuit. How well can they recover? Hopefully in the month they've adapted enough to their recovery is going to be better, so then they can undertake that load a lot better and have a more they adapt to the capacity and the workload a lot better. Where I think the biggest thing with athletes, the hardest thing to do is stop them from doing too much. You'd find that, yeah.
I think the question was asking how would they know if they're overtraining. Is that correct?
Yeah, you identify it.
I think the best way you can identify personally is how you're feeling.
So auto-regulation.
I think the biggest thing for you is auto-regulation based on how you feel per session. Big one for overtraining is just how you feel within yourself. Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling lethargic? What's your mood in terms of training? Are you motivated to train? A lot of times you're not motivated. A lot of people go off motivation. You can do a subjective wellness screen as well, and what you go is sleep quality, hours of sleep. General, that's just general question, but it's just within yourself. I can kind of tell with my guys because I just know them inside and out. That's something about the art of being a coach is ask them how they feel. The perfect example would be something like when I come in, are they really chatty? Are they really up and about? Or are they just come in and you got to realise there's more. Well, there's more stresses than training. There's external stress like family, like girlfriend, like work. That's a stress. So you're like a stress manager. So it's like, well, how do you feel today? You good to go? Some boys come in, I'm good to go, Wood. Let's do it. It's like they're just about to go to a nightclub and it's like, geez, they're not ready to go.
You can feel that energy as well.
And you bounce off that. But sometimes they come and you ask, Wood, I'm alright. Bad mood. Darby Henderson, bad mood. Can you tag Darby and his old man? He loved it. But sometimes Darbs comes in, might say hello to me. I'm like, what is the matter with him? Hendo, being a big girl. Tag Hendo in this, he'll love it. Big Brett Henderson, legend, absolute legend of bloke, and his son Darby I'm training. But Darbs comes in some days, he just won't oh hey Darby, what's the matter with him? Year 12, going through school and might be stressed at school and then I manipulate basically. Or Lane Fitzgerald, same with Lane, both of them year 12.
That's a hard time, but
mate, just ninjas, both of them.
I think a big thing with that is also overtraining is stress in the body. So if you're doing too much exercise without removing that stress, you're going to put massive effects to your body that's unneeded. So big thing that we do with I know me and you were doing it a lot out is parasympathetic breathing after training. So think about your session. If you're smashing your session, your cortisol levels are going up. Stress is exercise-induced stress. If you're not bringing that down, if you go sit in the car, get in traffic, or you go home to your family straight away, your stress levels are up. All that stuff compounds and it just starts to build, and then it's just week to week, month to month, year to year. That's also overtraining, is not recovering. So, breathing, slowing down, making sure you come down from your session, also plays a big part in your recovery. I think that's missed definitely in the industry. Bang out a session, jump in the car, take off, get pissed off. Right.
Yep, I think what you just explained, that's perfect with overtraining. Just got to start understanding your body and not. A lot of people want to train. They think more is better. It's not, and you just got to start listening to your body. Last question.
Carter Zhao. So he's been watching Sandor's videos, and he realized that the RDL is the first movement in your lower body accumulation block. And he asks, why is that? He would love to know so we can better program for his clients. So why do you guys put an RDL at the front of the program?
Because RDL is classified as an explosive movement for our Olympic lift, for our clean. So we've got a certain progression. We've got RDL, hang clean pull, hang clean high pull, hang clean power clean, stuff from a hang work the way to a floor. RDL is one of my big six, as well as a hip dominant pattern, a hinge, so it develops the posterior chain. The benefit of an RDL over a deadlift as well, if you want to know, is it develops eccentric load for the hamstrings, and we know eccentric strength is critical to prevent hamstring strains as well. So you can use an RDL for two reasons. One, you can use it as a progression on Olympic lifting, or number two, you can actually use it to develop the posterior chain. I use it first when they're fresh because I just classify as an explosive lift because it's progression on Olympic lifting. So I always program it first. You always want to program explosive stuff first when the athlete is neurally fresh, metabolically replenished. So that's why I use it. You can justify it anyway. There's many ways to skin a cat. I just justify it like that. That's the reason why I use it.
Eccentric load, massively. I've never done RDLs before coming to you, and it's just completely changed the way I look at the posterior chain.
Mate, critical. And you got to think how many people are real quad dominant as well. Then you start teaching them how to hinge, like they can't hinge because they're so quad dominant, they go into a quad dominant pattern. Once you start loading the posterior chain, the hamstrings properly, you'll feel them. And you'll get a whole level of growth, whole level of performance that you've never ever seen in terms of jumping ability, sprinting ability. Huge, massive. Anything you want to add to that?
I think, and also from my perspective with my clients, is it shortens the range of motion for neural adaptation. So in the first block of any client, you should be teaching them how to move their body properly before you're loading. So an RDL allows you to have, say, a shorter range of motion from the hip to the knee, or even half quad, anything to allow them to learn the hinge, and then you basically build on that. Anything just compounds. Build that neural adaptation and then start loading the body and get the metabolic.
He's right. 100% right.
I love RDL.
RDL's one of my big six.
I think I love RDL more than deadlift.
I love RDL more than anything. RDL is my life. Glutes are my life, everyone. Glutes are critical.
Get on, baby.
Get on it. Now, before I leave and I finish this episode 12, I asked Woodford, and I'd like to always thank my producer, Alex Sandelis. I'd like to thank everyone in the room right now who are watching this. I would like to thank Pottsy for being a real good intern, kind of changed my mindset of what interns really are. I felt like at the end of this internship, I was kind of a bit done with interns. I felt that my issue's always been, I've never felt anyone who was like me. If I had to pinpoint right now an intern who was most like me, it'd be you, Jordan, because you're a dead set idiot. But one thing that I appreciate is passion, and I appreciate people who want to help me out in this journey. I think you're going to go away in Noosa and become a very good performance coach, but I think you're going to take on my legacy up there, and you're going to really develop applied sports science up there. And I've always said I can't be at every place at once. I don't want to be, but I've found out a lot of people want to come with this journey on me, and I feel like you're one of them. And I feel like I've always got a network up there now, and I can always... My good thing is I want to make a network of really good coaches, and I always support you, and I always send athletes up to you. People say, look, I'm in Noosa, who do you know? It'd be Jordan Potts. So I really appreciate... I'm not... and you ask anyone here, I've never really... I take the piss out of a lot of stuff, and I'm really never serious, but when it comes to a performance, I am, and I really think you've done a good job. I appreciate it, hence why I got you on the show, to really develop your profile. And anyone who's friends with Jordan would know he's a loyal guy, and I sense how loyal he is to myself and the brand. So I really appreciate you and what you've done, and you've done a good job. So go home to Noosa and kill it, brother. I love you, man. Good shit. Other than that, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching this episode. As always, thank my man Alex behind the camera. For you guys watching that, keep sending your questions. Hashtag Ask Woodford. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Other than that, guys, we are changing the game. We are Woodford Sports Science Consulting. Woo! And we are #1 in Australia, and hopefully one day around the world. Thank you, guys, and thank you, Jordan.
Get around here.
Boom.